time to pick our heads up. Okay, we got 2 more games to play in this season from hell. And if you don't want to find any sort of motivation, any sort of reason to try to watch this team or root for this team, it is for the small, minute chance that maybe they can just spoil the New England Patriots' hopes of all the glitz and the glamour that they think that they got going on. All right. We got a game week. We have a special guest. Okay. So you better tune in. This is a special episode. It is Boy Green meets Wudi.
Can you guys help us get a jet chant here? Yeah, going.
Oh.
Okay, right. Come on in.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go!
J-E-T-S, jet! Let's go! J-E-T-S, jet! Let's go!
Third Party Thursday.
Chris joining us here on the program with a capital P here on the program.
Jake Asman, come on down. How you doing, good sir?
Wow, what an intro. I mean, Boy Green is known for having the intro, but Wudi, that was unreal, man. Thanks for the kind words, son.
We are men of many names.
My favorite Austrian Jets fan right there,
Yeah.
baby. Boy Green meets Wudi.
Welcome to another episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi. These are my favorite episodes where before the intro even ends, we already got some comments coming in. What's up, Hep? Come on now. Sharon, she's moved on from Steve Wilkes Booth to now Call Me Maybe. Come on now. Adirondack Fly Guy over at Take Flight Talk. Come on now. Oh my God, the comments are flowing. You already know it's your boy James Wudi, rocking everywhere. Over here, my guy, hey, my God, the boy who became king, Mr. Paul Esden Jr. is in the building, and we didn't want to interrupt, Santa's operation on Thursday, and make that, third party Thursday. So what we did is we brought in a credentialed guest today. And when we talk about credentials, oh my God, this person is the gold standard. We're talking about the beat reporter. All right. Talking about New England Patriots. You've seen him on this channel once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. In terms of this show, he was so nice. We're bringing him back twice. Come on now. He is the one, the only Taylor Kyles back in the building. How you doing, my good sir?
Boo. I feel like I'm in the WWE right now. Am I about to turn heel? I don't know, fellas, but pleasure to be here as always. Good to see your faces again.
Hey, you might be coming in as a heel. I don't know. The Patriots, I don't know.
I might have to get rid of this good guy persona. No, but I understand it's been a rough season. I don't know if you know, but the Patriots had a few rough years going. So, I understand how it feels, guys. I get it.
You don't get it. Here's a weird thing, Taylor. Your name is Taylor Kyles, and while we were hearing the intro video that Wudi does his masterful introduction, there's only one change I would make to your name. Now, no offense to your parents, but just when I think of like football highlights, they're screaming someone's name. One of my favorite names that they have like yelled on a highlight is Adrian Peterson, and they just like sort of get into it. So if you were Taylor Peterson, we could have given you some of that today, but unfortunately, you're Taylor Kyles. So.
My parents have pretty thick skin, and they're also pretty flexible people, so I'll run it by them. I'll let you know what they say.
Yeah, if you want to call quick audible at the line of scrimmage, make a quick little change there, might be something to consider. But Taylor, appreciate you coming back. And okay, so the Patriots have continued to win. Great. The Jets heading in the other direction here, Taylor Kyles. So although I thought by the next time that we spoke, from the previous time that we spoke, I thought you guys would have the AFC East already under the Christmas tree. But looking around here, wait a second. Wudi here was talking about spoilers. Patriots may not win this AFC East. What's the magic number? What do they need, Taylor Kyles?
I believe if they win this weekend, I'm really bad at playoff odds, to be totally honest with you. But I believe if they win, and obviously if the Bills lose, that pretty much wraps it up. But one of these next two games, if they do win out, I know that for a fact. If they win out, they are able to win the division. I think the Bills losing this week and them winning might do it. But I think if they both win, it might come down to the last week of the season.
Yes, I think I'm pulling it up here from Sports Illustrated just to make sure you have this straight here. Blah, blah, blah. It appears, yes, a win versus the Jets plus a Buffalo loss would do it. So there you have it. So I guess you need both elements of that equation. So thank goodness, because if it was just Patriots beating the Jets, I mean, there would be something pretty disgusting. The final home game of the season, Patriots come in and go wearing the stupid shirts and the hats, which could possibly happen if Buffalo loses too. But no thanks. I don't want that happening at MetLife Stadium. No, thank you. No.
Well, I mean, they haven't looked great in MetLife in the past few years, so there's maybe a little something to that. But at the same time, I will say, so that loss to the Bills really worried me because I thought it was a version of the Patriots that was very opposite to what they had shown. And that was discouraging because it was against a well-coached team with an MVP at quarterback. And then they had to play a pretty similar thing the next week. And you could argue the Ravens are even more talented. I don't think you could really argue that, but the Ravens are more talented than the Bills. I think that's pretty fair to say. So I was kind of worried that this might turn into a skid for the Patriots, as resilient as they've been, as good as Drake May's been in spurts. But that Bills game was about like the fourth or fifth week in a row that he had been kind of shaky with his accuracy and with his ball placement. And that was just the only game I've seen where typically he'll start rough at some point, but then he'll get into a groove where he throws like one or two incompletions in a quarter with two or three deep passes. And you're like, okay, he's in the avatar state. Got it. But he didn't really show that at all. So the Ravens game, I felt like was an even bigger statement because, okay, you get knocked down by a division opponent that is still pretty good. How do you bounce back from that, especially after just completely disappearing in the second half? And Drake May said, well, I'm going to have my first 300-yard game. I'm going to have my first fourth quarter comeback, and I'm going to play what might have been the best stretch of positive play that we've seen from him in his career. Now, a lot of injuries on the Patriots. They've been hit really badly. 3 players right now in concussion protocol. Milton Williams is coming back from injured reserve, but Kyrus Tonga might miss the rest of the regular season. Hopefully he'll be back for the playoffs. So Patriots are in kind of a weird place right now where the offense is trending up, but the defense might be getting exposed as a potential liability. And as we know, A.D. Mitchell kind of took Gonzo's lunch at times in that last matchup. So that's going to be an interesting rematch, I think.
That will be. Real quick follow-up, Toe. It looks like you have a really nice house there, the lighting and everything else that's going on over there. I'm curious, maybe it's off camera. What did you have on Harbaugh that prevented him from giving another carry to Derrick Henry in that fourth quarter? Because you guys must have had something. I don't know what it was or what happened there. And then for my MC Show Digital, that's a different YouTube channel where we talk Bills, Jets, Giants. We do all these different interviews with people. And the Bills guy on our channel is very salty about the Patriots. He's like, they're playing this cupcake schedule and all that. He's like, of course, Lamar Jackson gets hurt in that Ravens game. So the cred that Wudi was giving you at the beginning of this, it sounds like some people in the streets ain't giving that proper credit to the New England Patriots for the season they have. So if you can sort of take that as a nice little taco combo platter, I'll take a number 1 with a number 3 and answer that for me. I'd appreciate it.
I mean, that's completely valid. When Tyler Huntley came into the game, he started getting the ball out faster. And obviously Lamar, I thought he was a little sped up. It felt like there were times where he wasn't really letting things develop downfield, but very different styles of quarterback. And Lamar, for the most part, was playing well. He had like 109 passer rating before he got hurt. So that's a very valid criticism. And it felt like it kind of let the Patriots off easy in a game where, I mean, Zay Flowers made Gonzo look the most uncomfortable I've ever seen him. A.D. Mitchell was up there, but there were about like 8 man coverage snaps. A couple times they bracketed Zay. The times they didn't, Gonzo, there was one kind of hold he got away with. He was getting dusted at the top of routes, and that's Zay Flowers, right? But I think A.D. is a similar kind of separator when he's on his game. Just got to finish at the catch point, obviously. And I mean, Zay Flowers fumbles, so, a little mixed bag there. And when you talk about the run game, I mean, the whole thing with John Harbaugh, that's in a special box that is not on camera, I'm sorry to say. But that worked because for whatever reason, he let Keaton Mitchell on the field, and then his explanation almost made it sound like he didn't have a say in that. Like it was just up to the running backs coach. It was like, all right, this is Keaton's series in one of the most important parts of the game. So That was bizarre. And I keep coming back to a Bill Belichickism where more games are lost in the NFL than they are won. And I'll be honest, while it definitely felt like the Patriots offense won them that game, and credit them for getting 2 takeaways on some genuinely good efforts on stuff they were practicing all week, the Ravens opened the door completely for them, and they just absolutely powered through. So, you're kind of holding 2 things in one hand there, and that's the NFL sometimes.
Definitely. I mean, I feel like, they've done that. The Ravens have done that to themselves against the Chiefs in the playoffs. They refuse to run. So I don't know. If it's something that you got, the box off camera, or if, Harbaugh got an allergy that we don't know with running the football, your guess is as good as mine. But we'll talk run game real quick because, my guy, I got a couple jerseys in here, right? And now pretty much all of them are former New York Jets. They traded my guys away. Sauce. I got a Quinnen right here, right? That he never even wore this design jersey because they traded him away. So the one jersey that remains is a Breece Hall jersey, and of course the monkey on his back is this man. He never ran a 1,000-yard season, and he almost got there against the Patriots in a snowy game. Bill Belichick's last game. The Salah's staff can do math, but now here we are again. We are right here. He has 46 yards to go entering the 16th game of the season. In game 1, he had 58 yards. And then that was actually a special number because at that time, the Patriots hadn't even allowed a running back to get over 50 yards. The largest rusher they allowed was Josh Allen, who I believe had 53 heading into that game. So my question to you is, should I hang the banner now? Breece Hall 1,000-yard season against the Patriots, or are you guys about to close down the lane and shut my guy down and force me to dig into a box of Kleenex this week?
Depends on what kind of Kleenex. I will say that Jets game has been an interesting kind of inflection point kind of for the Patriots, at least the way they're seen publicly. Because a lot of people, Milton Williams obviously went down in that game. He's trying to come off injured reserve this week, potentially make his return to the field. But a lot of people think that injury is the reason the Patriots' run defense took not a step back. They did a complete 180 from going from a historically good unit for the first 8 weeks to really starting to decline from what I thought it was week 9 against the Falcons. There were some big rushing lanes for Bijan Robinson, but the defensive backs did a phenomenal job to plug those up quickly and keep him from creating more big plays. Ever since then, you started to see they were giving up more and more. Tampa Bay, Sean Tucker had one of the best games against them. Breece Hall then had another milestone against the run defense, and they haven't really gotten better. And then their worst game statistically was this last weekend against Derrick Henry, who ran for like 170 yards or something against him, something crazy. And the only thing that stopped him was not being on the field. I will say the run defense was pretty much bad everywhere. Like, you could take it where you wanted with these guys. And basically, if you were willing to stick with the run and the game was close, the Bills showed that can be enough to help win you the game. Because they really, even though they were behind, they were like, we're going to trust James Cook. We're going to trust our defense. Josh Allen didn't do a whole lot in that game. I'll be honest. Everybody says he put on the Superman jacket. No, it was the run game and the defense that won that game for the Buffalo Bills, and some pretty bad mistakes for the Patriots. Now, against Derrick Henry, they were better on the inside. I'll give them credit for that. Eric Gregory, who's a rookie, was actually looking pretty good throwing bodies around a little bit, even though, again, no Tonga. That's something you got to worry about. And Corey Durden, a guy who used to call MetLife home and is now on the Patriots, he's one of their better run stoppers. So you might not want to go inside too much, but I do think running outside is an area of weakness because they were getting gashed by the same concept, just outside zone, except they were really pressing the outside versus cutbacks like you see with a lot of running backs, and it led to them just ripping the Patriots to shreds. So I think if you try to attack the outside with Breece Hall, you should have a good amount of success. But one caveat I will mention is a lot of their success last time came in part because of Justin Fields. It forced the defense to really stay home, and Fields kind of tore them apart even when he kept the ball and they were in good position. So with Brady Cook, you might not have that same advantage, but I still wouldn't be surprised. Specifically, I would be surprised if Breece Hall doesn't get to 1,000 yards, even if he doesn't necessarily get to 100 yards in this game.
Brady Cook disrespect. All right, written down right there.
I mean,
Excellent.
how many like 50-yard touchdown runs does he have?
I'm going to have to go back and check the stats, and I'll get back to you on that one. I'm not willing to say that right now. And then also salute to Josh Allen Clark Kent. Josh Allen Clark Kent, not Superman, but Josh Allen Clark Kent. I appreciate that in the last one there. Taylor, how much do previous matchups matter, right? The Jets, Patriots, they know each other, right? They say throw their records out the window. Crazy stuff can happen in divisional games. When you play a team for a second time, is there a lot that can be drawn from a first matchup earlier in a season or no?
We heard Mike Vrabel and the Patriots coaches talk about this. Is there's always something you can glean because it was a game. There were things you did poorly. There were things you did better. And of course, you want to keep doing the things you did well and improve on those and either get better at or scrap some of the things that didn't work. Now, that being said, with the Patriots now having the playoffs wrapped up, it's not the situation they've been in recent years where it's like, all right, it's a division foe. It's late in the year. You got nothing to really play for. Maybe you throw out the kitchen sink and you throw some kind of fun stuff out there that throws them off because you just saw these schemes. These guys are familiar with each other I guess the Patriots are kind of different. They had a lot of turnover, but still you've actually played these guys. So, you know, their tendencies, you know what it's like to play them and all that. So it comes down to, okay, you may know what's coming. Can you stop it? The Bills did a great job. They made some little tweaks and they recognized some patterns from the Patriots and shut some things down. But if the coaching is obviously good enough to put you in those positions, the players also have to capitalize on those opportunities. So, I mean, I still think it's going to be tough for the Jets, just given I do think even though the Patriots are banged up, they do have Drake May, and I don't think it's a terrible defense. I just think it's one that really has to improve before they actually get to the playoffs. But again, while it is important and definitely gives you a lot of context, this is a brand new game, different circumstances with injuries, matchups, things like that. So I think there's going to be quite a few things that are going to change up in this matchup.
Drake May. You guys, yes, you do have him, and he is playing this Sunday. I think last time when we spoke, I talked about how I live like a mile off of the UNC campus. So my time here, to the Father, Son, and to the Drake May, that's where we are in this country, where I'm at right now. I knew he was going to be a top pick, and I was just like, please do not go to the Patriots. And of course, that is what happened. Now I've been sentenced to probably like a decade plus of having to deal with him in the division. Let me ask you this, because the Jets fan base seem to believe that Fernando Mendoza is the answer to all of our problems, everything that's ever happened. He might be able to cure cancer or anything like that. Something, I don't know. You, as a Patriots fan, you receive news about different teams. I know we both saw that the Dolphins might move on from Tua. We're like, no, keep it, please.
Keep Tua, please.
Come on. Are you at all nervous at the idea of Fernando Mendoza being a New York Jet for the next however many years? Oh, and I think you're muted.
Oh shoot! So did you hear anything, guys?
No, sorry. I think after Boy Green's the Fernando graphic, I saw that I was muted, and then he wasn't saying nothing. So I thought you guys could hear each other, and then I was like, hey, but now he's not here. So I think we lost you. We lost everybody for a second. My bad.
All right, we're back. Well, I was saying you guys are going to get a lot of value out of that graphic during draft season. But the thing I think I would dislike most about Fernando Mendoza on the Jets is that someone that likable would be on a division rival. Like I like Mendoza a lot as a person, and I do think he's a talented player. doesn't really move the needle for me that much, though. And I do think the Jets have some young pieces. I love the tackle situation. Elijah Vera Tucker, when he gets back, obviously is a really good player. And Garrett Wilson's awesome. Maybe A.D. Mitchell can really have all that potential kind of come together, and he becomes another really dangerous and complementary piece to Garrett Wilson. So he could be walking into a pretty solid situation. I mean, you got Josh Allen in the division and Drake May and those two. I mean, you got John Gruden out there saying he'd rather take Drake May than Josh Allen. So I'm sorry, it's going to take more than a Fernando Mendoza to really make the Jets scary for me. That'd be more about what they do on the defensive side of the ball, I feel like, than any quarterback they could probably land in the next year or so.
Fair enough. Well, Taylor, let me ask you, America loves a comeback story. It's so beautiful. It's so inspirational. Stephon Diggs started the year with the pink stuff, the sniffy jiffy, the devil's dandruff, and all of a sudden, and now look at him making plays all over the place, and he looks like one of the savvy wide receiver additions, and he was one of the later wide receiver additions with all the other stuff that was going on with the recovery from his injury. It looks like the Patriots might have hit something here with Mr. Stephon Diggs.
It certainly does. And I mean, I will be honest, the entire season, he's been solid. He's been reliable. And there's something to be said for the fact that over the last month, teams have had coverages specifically meant to take him away, where they'll have a 5-man front and maybe they blitz a linebacker, but those edges are popping out because they know the Patriots love their quick in breakers to Stephon Diggs and also at times to Hunter Henry. Also, there will be coverages where there's straight up brackets where it's not even, this safety's coming down in kind of a buzz kind of technique where he's in zone and he's reading the quarterback. They will have eyes on Diggs, so you have him inside out and it kind of deters throws. Now, that's not always going to save you. There was actually a snap last week where Diggs beat a bracket deep, but there are specific times where teams are trying to take him away. But last week, I thought Josh McDaniels did a great job scheming him open in certain opportunities. And Stephon Diggs showing the veteran savvy. He made some really incredible catches. One where he had to go up and extend, took a huge hit, landed on his knee and his back, and still made the catch. Another 3rd and 14 situation where he's about to turn right into coverage, sees it, immediately turns to keep himself open over the middle. Drake May finds him and converts in a situation where they're backed up into their own territory and they get some breathing room. So Diggs hasn't been a week in, week out, just dominant player, but primetime he's been fantastic. And even still, in those crucial moments when Drake May looks to him, as long as it's not a coverage that's specifically taking him away, and in those situations, Drake does a good job looking elsewhere for the most part, but he's been money for them in the big moments, and it's been really cool to watch given obviously the injury that he suffered last year.
Taylor, we might have talked about this before, but I want to bring it back up if we have. There was a moment, it was at some point this year, obviously, because Mike Vrabel, this is his first year as a coach. In the middle of one of his press conferences, he gave a shout out to you about your ball knowledge. And he just said it when someone was asking a question. And again, we might have talked about this before, so excuse me if we have. But it just hit me again as you were talking ball right now. You were breaking down, oh boy, this guy doing one of these coverage possibilities. And then the Patriots love doing this technique and this and that and the other. Is there any validation to all the work you put in? Was that just this cool bucket list thing? Was that, hey, pass the biscuits? Of course, I know what the hell I'm talking about. Vrabel, thanks for jumping on the bandwagon, pal. What is it here? Because I would imagine that'd be pretty cool for someone that covers a team to have just out of nowhere, if I'm not mistaken, just sort of name dropping Taylor Kyles for your ball knowledge.
I mean, I'd be blowing smoke if someone who's accomplished what Mike Vrabel has saying something like that. Like if I said that didn't, register, total lie. Like, yeah, that was pretty validating. It was definitely very cool. But I am not good with attention. So I kind of felt like an ant under a magnifying glass like that whole week. Because obviously it's local and it kind of got talked about a little bit. And I kind of wanted to curl up and die a little bit. So that part of it was a learning and growing experience. But I mean, I sit in my dungeon and I do watch a lot of tape and I try to make sure that my analysis is as close to accurate and is insightful and shows the bigger picture as I possibly can. So to see that the head coach is recognizing that work is, obviously was very cool. And I was touched.
Well, we definitely see your knowledge right here. Let me tell you that. I got all of us, we have a question from the comments here. Shout out to Macho Talk Sports, our guy. Wants to know, Taylor, your thoughts on this offseason if you have a free agent or draft targets, what are you looking for your Patriots to accomplish this offseason?
There are two players that I really like. I haven't done a really deep dive into the free agent class, but I know Boye Mafe for the Seahawks. I feel like he was someone that was talked about in trade rumors just because they already have a lot of depth there and they didn't necessarily need him as the type of role that he was before. I'd love to maybe bring him in for some juice on the edge, the Patriots. Keelan Chaison's been solid, but I'd say more opportunistic than consistently someone you really need to be scared of. And I think that also Harold Landry's been banged up and he's getting older. I really like him as a player. I think he does a lot of things well, but right now it's tough because he's already kind of getting overpaid, and I'm not sure he can get out of his contract anytime terribly soon. And also Alec Pierce, man. I think Alec Pierce and Drake May would be an insane combination. A lot of people think that, now what do you do with Kayshon Boutte? I think they could be complementary, and those two with Kyle Williams is kind of your future wide receiver. I think could be very, very fun. So I don't know if the Patriots are necessarily going to be looking there because they've got their wide receivers under contract for a couple years. They might look to the draft more in the mid rounds more than anything and spend a ton of money on a wide receiver. But I mean, Pierce's ability downfield, and I think he's a good route runner, and he's big enough to be a good blocker for you. I feel like if they brought him in for someone with the ball placement and aggressiveness of the Drake May, they would set the league on fire.
Interesting. Well, I'd hate for that to happen, but that nonetheless, good for you to bring that up. This is a question that I'm going to ask it, but I'm not sure if I want to know the answer. But I'll ask it anyway because we asked this, like I said on my other channel, we're doing Giants coverage and Bills coverage and all these other ones. And for it wasn't for the Giants and the Jets because they're not in the playoffs, but for the teams that are graceful enough, the Bills are going to be in there. They punched their ticket already with Monday night's Colts loss to the 49ers. I'm curious. As a Patriots guy, I imagine you guys are already starting to look at matchups, who you could face, seeding opportunities, and who is the team that you're licking your chops. You're like, please, this is who I want for the Patriots to get in the first round because we're gonna beat up that ass, or like the one you're sort of scared, you're a little nervous, like a little nervous perhaps. You're like, that matchup might give me a little bit of the heebie-jeebies. Where you at there, Taylor, on that 2-pack?
There's actually honestly a few teams I really wouldn't want to play. I'd put the Jaguars in there. The way that Trevor Lawrence is playing, the mojo that they're kind of moving with, and their defense is legit. It hasn't just been Trevor Lawrence and Jacoby Myers. I know that man. I had a feeling that him and Trevor Lawrence would be a very good combination because it just gives him someone he can trust in all of the high leverage moments. And then everyone else can be complimentary, where Parker Washington can be, a big play threat where he's breaking tackles and sometimes making plays downfield. And obviously Brian Thomas Jr. can be Brian Thomas Jr. while you can't just think about him as the only threat. So I wouldn't want to play the Jaguars with the momentum they've got right now. The Texans in that defense, no, thank you. And the offense, I mean, they're starting to really improve as well. So I would say the Texans and those and the Jaguars are two teams I wouldn't want to face. I wouldn't mind a rematch against the Bills because I think that the Patriots really shot themselves in the foot in a winnable game. And I think that familiarity would be the kind of situation where just all bets are off. And I also want a tiebreaker, frankly. I would really like to see that. So I'd like the Bills. And then I hope if the Colts or Ravens make it, I'd like to play them again, or the Ravens again, or the Colts. I wouldn't mind that. But as it stands right now, I would say the Steelers. But honestly, man, there's some dark magic going on in Pittsburgh, as there always is. And I just feel like in the wild card, that's the Patriots already, crushed themselves and allowed themselves to lose to the Steelers. But they've got enough talent that I wouldn't go into that one being supremely confident despite what their record is.
Well, you definitely made some good points there. I am curious to know, and if you can try your best, take off the Patriots hat, just all that football knowledge that you have, just okay, so all right. Yeah. We just seen it. We seen it on the desk because sometimes when you get the young QB, right, you go on a playoff run. And you start sounding like some of the people in the DC area talking about, hey, the Commanders, we run the NFC East now. The NFC East goes through us. And, seasons happen, things happen. And We'll see what happens with them next year. The Bengals, Joe Burrow, they went all the way to the Super Bowl. The AFC North, that division is ours. They still have Burrow, and they still really not making the playoffs, not doing anything. The Patriots clearly are about to, be in the playoffs. If they face the teams that you just said, they definitely going to spank the Ravens or Colts. Is this, in your best football opinion, a Commanders type situation, a flash in the pan, if you will, or do you think this is the makings of a run, and why? Give us your best reason to support your answer.
I mean, I was worried about the Commanders while they were on their hot streak last year because I was like, this feels like Jaden Daniels and a lot of other people. All due respect to Dan Quinn, but he's not the kind of coach where I'm saying, well, they're going to be in the playoffs every year. And Cliff Kingsbury's entire NFL career has been his scheme gets figured out late in the season. He doesn't really have anything to make things easier on his players. And then it forces like Terry McLaurin and Jaden McDaniels to just play incredible ball. But obviously at some point your luck does kind of run out. I don't see that for the Patriots. And it's why I said before the season started, I thought they had 13 winnable games, largely because of their schedule as well. It wasn't total cockiness. It was just they're playing a lot of bad teams this year. And you've got Mike Vrabel, a guy who's already won Coach of the Year. You have Drake May, who is probably going to be a top 3-5 quarterback for the foreseeable future. And Josh McDaniels, who has a quarterback who's smart enough to actually capitalize on the fact that McDaniels has played every coordinator. He faced every defense. He has literal entire binders of game plans and experiences against everybody in the league. And oh yeah, he also spent the vast majority of his adult life coaching Tom Brady and also proving that he can adapt to more athletic quarterbacks, which he has with Drake. Like, this ain't the old Patriots offense where it's screens, it's running backs underneath, it's yak monsters. We're having 2 chip blocks, and we're trying to beat you deep as much as possible because that's what our quarterback is capable of. So I think when you talk about that trifecta of having the offense coordinator, quarterback, and head coach, and also what they showed in the draft in this offseason of being able to bring in pieces that turn it around, where almost every single one of their draft picks has had some kind of significant contribution to the team, and their free agents are the foundation of what is a new Patriots regime and kind of leadership contingent, then I think this is very different from the Commanders. And I still have a very healthy respect for the Bills and Josh Allen. I never was of the mindset of the Patriots run this shit or any, pardon my French. I never really thought they ran the division. All right, I'll get crazy. But I did think that this specific season, because of some of what the Bills don't have and their injuries and roster deficiencies, that the Patriots had an advantage in some head-to-head matchups. So you still have 2 kings in the AFC East now, and it's going to be a fun one. It's like when Brady and Peyton were in the same division. Brady wasn't Brady yet. But you do at least have, that power struggle that I feel like is going to go back and forth. But I do expect the Patriots to be in it, again, for the foreseeable future.
This is more a comment than a question, but I think the Patriots have like a sneaky advantage here. Maybe it's not sneaky. Maybe a lot of people are talking about it, but it feels sneaky. So, like, for the Chiefs, they have Steve Spagnuolo, who is their defensive coordinator forever. Who knows what the Chiefs are going to be, 20 and all that stuff. But I meant for like the last bunch of years. He's their defensive coordinator, and he's awesome. And vultures will fly around to pick apart teams that are really successful. But Spags had a horrific run with the then St. Louis Rams, and it went horrible. So he's sort of got the stink on him if anyone wanted to get him again. And then he kept getting older. So the Chiefs had this unique advantage of keeping continuity of Spags forever because he wasn't getting another head coaching job. And as long as he didn't retire, they just kept having this that no one was going to pick apart. You go to Josh McDaniels, and he blew up all these terrible head coaches. Yeah, the Raiders, Broncos, blows up all over the place.
There's a track record.
Yeah, so who knows if he's ever going to get a head coaching gig again? I would imagine not. So as long as he wants to continue to coach, he's 49 years old. If you're the Patriots, and as long as Mike Vrabel keeps being the guy, and he seems to have a good relationship with Josh, the Josh Vrabel thing can last for as long as it wants to. Josh seems very happy in New England. So I think that's a sneaky advantage no one's talking about, is sometimes when you have these hot teams, Wudi brought up the Commanders, right? It feels inevitable that Cliff Kingsbury, that fruit's going to be plucked from that tree eventually, and Jaden Daniels is going to have to be thrown to a different offensive system. That's what I think. Again, it's not really a question, but you feel free to comment on it. That feels to me to be an advantage now that Josh is there in New England, that Drake's going to have this guy connected to him forever or for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, my whole thing during the coaching search was I loved Ben Johnson, and I kind of was more of a Ben Johnson guy. My caveat was if you get Josh McDaniels and Mike Vrabel, I'm sold. Like, that is the best case scenario because, again, one, you understand the culture, right? I think that coming from an organization that's used to winning and seeing how Bill Belichick ran things and being your own person and understanding, like, Mike Vrabel has done a great job of not just repeating Bill Belichick. He's more empathetic. In press conferences, he's very jokey. He busts our chops sometimes. He's very open as much as he can be. Like, he'll tell us what the injury report's going to be ahead of time. He's very transparent. And I think there's an understanding of this is still entertainment. Like, yes, there is a business element to this where you want to keep some things in-house and have certain respect. And, there's some minds to kind of step around. But also, you want fans to feel engaged and you want the media to feel that they can actually work with you and that they are not the enemy. So I think that alone has given him a big step up and why he's had so much buy-in so quickly. Not necessarily how he treats people externally, but I think the way he treats players and actually making sure that they are people and they feel like people. And you got offensive players, defensive players, special teams players all hanging out with each other. So when you have that in Mike Vrabel and an OC quarterback combination like that, I feel like that's going to be a tough trifecta to go up against no matter what the circumstances are, because we've already seen Drake May like taking a quantum leap in his maturity as a passer under Josh McDaniels. So I know this is a Jets show. I'm sorry to make you all listen to this drivel, but it feels legit what's going on in New England.
It's no need to apologize. I'm still trying to wrap my head around. You said a head coach that was getting along with the media that didn't antagonize him. I don't even know what that means. Sharing the injury report? What?
I mean, to be fair, Gerard last year, like Aaron Glenn, I could at least like rationalize what he does sometimes. Gerard was just, God bless him, was putting himself in the team in bad positions in press conferences multiple times a week. Like, not even just I'm fighting back, like just saying truly dumb stuff that then became national media headlines. Like the Aaron Glenn thing when he pushed back on the injury report and obviously saying check with Rich, that was bad. Like that was still, I don't really care. That was a pretty bad look. But man, it's not every week. And it's not like, why would you say that? Why would you call your players soft? Why would you do that? Like, so, this has been a 180 for me as well, especially I had Bill. So it's been snip, snap since I got on the beat.
Yeah, there you go. A couple of things here before we finish off with you here, Taylor. First off, Boy Green Coffee Club memberships being gifted from the high heavens. Appreciate that, mother effing chew. You're hearing a lot of that over the coming months. Very much. Shout out to MLT. By the way, this membership went to 1 Minute Man, 1 Minute Man Ride Once More. Very specific YouTube handle. Thank you very much for that Minute Man joining here on the program. And here it is. Also, so I assume the cap is still off. I didn't see you put it back on. So I'll have this question in the same vein here of being as straight as possible with us. Do you believe in your loins? I was going to say heart, but loins just felt more intimate. Do you believe that the New England Patriots are about to go on a run here in this specific playoff run? Do you feel it? Like, oh, yeah. There's just a sense around this team, or is this team about to be one and done in the playoffs? What's more likely?
That's a good question. I think if I'm being very honest, one and done is very much on the table. Because of the injuries, and I think because the defense is starting to show some vulnerabilities. And it's really nothing against the Patriots. It's just it feels so soon. And obviously, we said that at the beginning of the season, and look what they've done. But I feel like there are more well-rounded teams that can exploit certain things that they don't do well. And I think we have yet to see Drake play 60 minutes of great football the way he has for one period or the way he will for two periods. But at some point, there's going to be probably one quarter where it's just like, yeesh. That wasn't great. We're really going to need you to be Drake, May. Now, that said, if you do that in the fourth quarter, as he showed last weekend, you can make a whole lot of mistakes. But as long as it is still figure-outable, it's going to work. So just in my loins, I honestly do feel a potential one and done, especially because they play better on the road, I feel like. It's really weird, but even when they were bad, they would win on the road. Anytime they did win, it was in opponent territory, and then when they would come home, they wouldn't play their best. And it seems like they're on track to get one of those home playoff wins. Now, to be fair, Gillette hasn't been rocking like that probably since 2019. So could be a different atmosphere where it really is a hostile environment. But I do feel like there are going to be teams that just have strengths in more parts of the field. That's going to be a little much for them to overcome. But as long as they don't get blown out, this season went well. Like, you made the playoffs, and if you were competitive and, almost won a game that you weren't even expected to be in when the season or before the season started, I'd say that's still a win. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either way, but I'm leaning towards first round exit.
Okay, I appreciate the loin check there. Again, we got 700 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe wherever you are. And my final question is this, Taylor, just to go back to that Vrabel thing we talked about earlier. And folks, you guys can look it up. If you just go Mike Vrabel praise Taylor Kyles, it'll come up here. But I'm curious, Taylor, do you just really enjoy this beat reporter gig, and that's what you're going to keep doing? Because a lot of people, when I Googled it, because I was like, can I find back that clip again? And a lot of people were like, whoa, that doesn't happen every day, that NFL coach gives a guy a shout out. Would that inspire you to use your superpowers to like join an NFL team or something, or go beyond just being a beat reporter? Not that there's anything wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. That's a very nice job. But would you ever pursue something bigger, more connected perhaps to the sport?
That's a fair question. Would probably depend on the role. Like when I was at Syracuse, I was in charge of like doing cut-ups, and I would like watch players, and I love cut-ups, what I used to do on Twitter when I was allowed to. That was where my heart is. Like, I love finding, I got ADHD, so I love like finding patterns, and that's what makes the game exciting for me, and sharing those with people and seeing the storylines within the game, where like you see a certain personnel package, and like with Drake May, for example, and Josh McDaniels. Josh will call the same concept like 5 times in a game. And while that might seem like a disadvantage, if you're getting different coverages and that they know that whole situation, it actually puts Drake May a step ahead of what the defense is doing, because he knows that you have an idea of how he's trying to attack you and will go somewhere else. So that kind of stuff I think is fun. If I got offered a job to do that and it paid well, that's a big thing. Yeah, I'm not out here trying to take scraps, but if you wanted to pay me to do that, I wouldn't mind it. But I also love being a beat reporter, man. It's really cool that you get access to the players and all of those things, and you still get to be a person. Like, scouts work. I tried to be a scout originally, and when I found out what the commitment is, I was like, I don't think I have enough mental health to do this kind of thing and travel as much, be away from my family. So it's a tough job, and I don't think anybody can just slide into it. But for now, I'm very happy with the work-life balance of a beat reporter, which is not great, but I think it's better, a little bit better than being on an NFL staff.
Hey, the only good thing about us, you not being in the NFL yet, is that we still get to do these at least twice a season. So it's pretty nice. I bet your schedule a bit more packed at the NFL level if you got hired in that role. So Taylor, we always appreciate you coming on the program, man.
Appreciate you guys having me as always. Thank you so much, and I hope we get a good game on Sunday. Whoever wins,
we won't.
Come on, Wudi.
Yeah, come on, Wudi.
Hey, I just got jet hat still on, but you got to call it how you see it. Come on, now. It's gonna be ugly, but no, we definitely wholeheartedly appreciate it. Taking time, putting the pen down from writing letters to Santa, putting the pen down, and speaking to us, talking Jets, talking Pats, always so informative. That's my favorite part about this, is that I learned so much. Not only about this terrible team that I hate so much, the New England Patriots, but about the game of football. And, it's always a pleasure, and I always get so much out of our time together.
Goes both ways, fellas. Seriously, thank you so much. Appreciate you, and happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah, same to you and yours, man. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, everybody, and to all a good night. See you, everybody.